Morning all, how are we doing? Sorry I'm late. I'm always late on Thursdays. Never get back in time. Oh, I have a spin class that finishes at 7:30, so it's just a rush to get back and get ready. So we've got a little gap fill on the DAX at the minute. Very small. It was only a tiny little one this morning, and depending whether you take the wick or the body, it's closed or it hasn't, but it's very, very small. So nothing particularly exciting there. DAX yesterday, we had a sideways day. Sorry, this one. Very sideways as expected until obviously FOMC, which drove all the indices through the roof and the US dollar down. So we'll see what happens today. I suspect we're going to get a pullback on all of these moves today on the DAX. So morning Stevie, morning Ladder, Vinod, Burke, Diamond. Sorry, I haven't said morning to anybody yet. So US indices are already coming down out of the gates this morning before Frankfurt open. So yeah, big up day. Market structure on the DAX still beautiful. This is exactly where I would expect next leg to start, somewhere in the 72.24 range. So looking for down day today. May have a quick go straight before the open. Okay. We do seem to be a little bit bearish. So looking at the other indices quickly, just quickly show you why. Obviously that's the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow, all coming down at the open, before the open of Frankfurt. So there's a lot of selling pressure coming in already in the Globex session in the US. So they may well spike this up and whipsaw it this morning, but it's worth a go short straight out of the gates, I think, this morning. So good day yesterday. We'll have a look at the news in a minute and have a look at what happened in FOMC and everything. We've got 20 seconds to the open. Had a pretty good day yesterday. Banked Aussie dollar, US dollar. I got out of them before FOMC, so these longs here, I got out of them all just before FOMC because I wasn't going to be around for FOMC. I should have kept them, but you don't know, do you? Big push up on those. I did take some US dollar Swiss shorts. I escaped 2 of the US dollar Swiss shorts yesterday in FOMC, so I took them just ahead of FOMC. One there and the other one there, and I exited those both down there. I've got 2 left running, which are break even. So I'm hoping today they don't do too much of a pullback and they kiss this propulsion gap and shoot out the bottom of it, but we'll see. Very mixed messages on the indices this morning. The FTSE is going through the roof. Everything else is coming down. Just watching them. It's US dollar and that was DAX trading yesterday. So at the moment I've got open those 2 US dollar Swisses, and I've only got Euro CAD on, which is in profit. Hasn't gone anywhere basically. I've been in this Euro CAD for a few days now. It's not going anywhere. So I got in on the pullback into this area here. That's what I was looking for. So I got into it on Friday, late Friday. Added a second position as we pulled down yesterday. And looking obviously target the lows initially. DAX is undecided at the minute. We'll have a look at FOMC in a sec. Quite a light open this morning on the DAX. The US indices are going down pretty fast. So today's news, I get the feeling today we're going to have a little bit of the same day as yesterday. We'll probably see a lot of rotation this morning. Not a lot of fast movement, so I'd keep it tight. Keep on low time frames, M5, M1 if you're trading the indices this morning. Because we're going to get a fairly sideways morning, I would imagine, because obviously today is the rates for the pound. So market will want to sit in a holding pattern until 12 o'clock and accumulate positions ready to move off of the rate announcement for the pound. Expecting pound to drop, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I would expect we tend to follow very, very much. We tend to follow the US lead, so they came out as expected. I wouldn't expect us to come out any different. We do occasionally, never know, but I wouldn't expect it. So I would expect some probably weakness off of the pound when the rate announcement comes out, but we will see. But I think this morning, obviously, it's going to be fairly quiet. We've got OPEC all day today as well, so potential impact on CAD. Oil figures. What were the oil figures yesterday? Inventories were down yesterday, which is positive oil, positive CAD. Inventories were up. That's negative oil, negative CAD. 1.3 million. They were expecting negative 0.7, so that's bad. So yeah, opposite. So that should have driven oil prices down slightly. Didn't like it made a lot of difference. Oh, it was FOMC, wasn't it? Of course it was. Nothing's going to trump FOMC. So oil's just taking a nice. Just look at this. I don't look at M30 at all, but look at that. It's a lovely M pattern reversal going in on liquidity run on oil at the minute. Get a reversal alert on that. That's got a nice drop ahead of it. DAX is just pushing up. Just got stopped out of my position on my other account. It's a slightly different stop on the other account. Is just above these highs. Right. So that's what we've got set up for today. All about the pound today, and then tomorrow obviously is on payroll at 1:30. So again, tomorrow morning probably sideways, and then lots of movement off of the back of non-farm. So lots of stuff happened obviously off of FOMC yesterday. Newswire was lit up like a Christmas tree, as it always is with FOMC when Powell is speaking. Lots of volatility. The vast majority of the volatility in FOMC tends to come out of the press conference, which is 7:30. So we had all of that yesterday. If you look at the US dollar pairs, obviously they all came down fairly hard. That's just come back down into that zone I had drawn on. So yeah, it's a nice big drop. Whether this is going to be the start of this US dollar weakness or not will be seen today probably. So I'm just going to take a couple of shorts. On the DAX on my other account. Just putting a nice bearish engulfing. We're just starting a nice bearish engulfing move. So there's the opening range. Very, 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 very tight opening range today. Just getting an opening range breakout to the low. I'm just going to put another sell stop underneath that low, gather into a second position short. So nice big drop off of FOMC. What happens on the retracement is where you get the clues. So if we have the nice drop, we then retrace and put in a new lower low, market structure shifts to the downside, then we should hopefully get this start of this move. Obviously, it's not going to move anywhere near as fast as it or as hard as it did in FOMC. So we're getting the retracement move at the moment. looking for a retracement bounce short. Obviously, we don't know what impact it's going to have on the US dollar. It all came out as expected. The market factors in what is expected. So, in theory, the market should already have done the moves it wanted to do ahead of FOMC, and obviously the FOMC is where they then start to make their next moves. It's difficult to tell whether it's short or long. I'm not an economist, but the market generally on FOMC tends to give you an indication of where it's going to be going over the next sort of weeks, month until the next rate announcement. And we had that nice big drop, and it was a sustained drop as well. It wasn't a whipsaw. So when you get news events and you see it do this sort of stuff and then return back to where it was, that's just a news spike. That's what you tend to get off of non-farm payroll, because non-farm payroll doesn't actually move the market. FOMC announcements, rate announcements do move the market, and it's not a whipsaw. It was a sustained move and sell-off down to these lows. So what we're looking for is a break back down below these lows to give us confirmation we should be short in the US dollar. So speculative shorts today, we'll be getting in up here, looking for the pullback short. Safer people will be getting in there, looking for a long-term drop on the US dollar over the next few weeks to month. So make your own mind up. US dollar yen, obviously the yen, let's have a quick look, whiz through all the yens. Got spike on that one. Not a lot of movement off of the yen. So yen is still really undecided. No directional bias. It's completely sideways, have been for the last week. So I'm glad I didn't take any yen trades. Remember I was saying I'm staying out of the yen at the moment because it's not, I can't figure out long or short at all on this thing at the moment. It's not giving any clues market structure wise, so I'm just steering clear. Yesterday did not shed any light on it at all either. So, come on, DAX, what are you doing? Make your mind up. DAX just pushing highs again. Can't make its mind up where it wants to go this morning. So that's FOMC basically. So I'm kind of thinking shorts on US dollar pairs. So basically long everything against the US dollar. But I want to give it today. Let it get the pound rate announcements out of the way, because obviously as soon as the pound rate announcements are out of the way, we're kind of clear. Non-farm payroll tomorrow is just a whipsaw event. Lots of volatility off of the trade, off of the event, but it's not something that fundamentally moves the market. They don't change monetary policy because the unemployment figures. Going into next week, we've got a light week for news. We've got PPIs, CPI for the US dollar as well, but it's very light news apart from that. So once today's over, with the pound rates, it's all basically plain sailing. Normal market structure should resume. So I want to give today the US dollar today to give me an indication of whether we are looking short or long. There's nothing to stop this thing. We've literally had 3 weeks solid up on the US dollar. 5 weeks if you look at the Swissy, including this week. So we've got a lovely rejection up there. It's where I would expect us now to start a pullback. Only a pullback initially, back down somewhere to one of these levels here. And then see what happens with monetary policy moving forward. But yeah, need to get some short action on the US dollar, I think. And it certainly looks like it's starting yesterday. What do you think about Aussie dollar Swiss? Looks like a nice short chance as well. Aussie dollar Swiss. Yeah, nice long wicks to the upside on that. Loads and loads and loads of buying. No profit taking whatsoever on this, so I'll be looking for a pullback on that. Just get that fib off. Didn't quite take out the liquidity at the highs. So there is potential for another leg up on that one, and then basically a pullback from there. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get in short on it now, what I would do is get in short on it now. Take a second position on the liquidity run there and a third position there, and then stop out at the top somewhere. And expect it to pull back down into this area, at least into that area. It's a long though, Aussie dollar Swiss. So we're bullish at the minute, but like I said, we are coming up to some very decent looking resistance at the moment. Actually, probably a short there, short at the highs, and then another short at that high, and stop out just above. But yeah, it looks good. There's no power in the Swiss franc at the moment. It's not doing anything the same as the euro. It's just sort of floundering around. So the most of the movement you're going to get is going to be the Australian dollar. We've got nothing coming at all on the Aussies. Yeah, all Swiss francs look short at the moment. We've not got any, as I say, there's no power in the Swiss franc. So when you've got a currency, it's the same as the euro's been for the last couple of years. Whatever the other currency is, whatever the cross of the currency is against the euro or the Swiss in this case, that is what's going to drive price. So if the New Zealand dollar powers up, it's going to go up. If the New Zealand dollar weakens, it's going to go down, because the Swiss is just sitting there neutral, getting pushed around by the other currencies. It always has done, but at the moment, there's a lot less going through the SNB, so you're getting a lot less movement on the Swiss franc. There's a lot less transactions going through the Swiss National Bank, so it's just weaker. You're not getting those flurries of activity we normally see on the Swissies, but yeah, short on them all really. I'd wait for extensions on them. So ADRs is nothing today. We've got quite a few weeklies. We are on Thursday. Wow, DAX is just dead. Look at that. Stupidly tight range, less than 400 pips. And we've got two inside bars. Was it a 450? 45 point opening range and no movement. The US indices have kicked off quite nicely this morning, but this is the Globex session, so God knows what it's going to be like when New York opens. It's going to be a busy day today, I reckon. Just starting to, we've just done an opening range breakout to the downside, so we'll see if we can get pull back short. I'm surprised the DAX has taken this long. If you look at the other indices, they're all selling off really hard this morning. The DAX has been very resistant to the selling this morning. I haven't got the crickets on, have I? Let's turn them on. You can hear what's going on then. Right. So yeah, US dollar Swiss obviously is the only. Not the only position I've got on, but it's the main position I've got on at the moment. Got two positions short on that, fairly close together. So I've just basically stopped the break even on those. Looking for a move down. Very difficult to pick where we're going on this. I've basically picked this accumulation, this 3-day accumulation here, as my target. Some selling coming in. This is basically where we broke out, this propulsion move here. So there'll be a lot of liquidity sitting in here. And this is where the main sort of run started before we kind of had a little bit of a rest. So this is where I think we're going to find the most support. So that makes the obvious target. I've got another target down there, so I've got two positions on. Second target is targeting this accumulation here, though we did go into another sort of accumulation there. It was a bit messy, this move. This is ultimately where I think we'll probably come to if we are going to sell off on the US dollar, but I'm not going to hold it all the way down there. So I'm looking for that elevator shaft style move, but I don't think we're going to get it, to be honest. It's the US dollar. It doesn't tend to come down that fast. Real load of selling coming in on the US indices at the minute. They are absolutely collapsing, and the DAX is just sitting sideways. So all US indices selling off like loonies at the moment. Coming down to here, so these look like really lovely shorts today. I'm just annoyed that DAX isn't doing the same thing. That's why I'm on the DAX. I'm on the DAX because the DAX should have more liquidity because the market's actually open, and this is the one that's not moving this morning for some reason. It's annoying. On the wrong thing. Nothing we can do about it. So yeah, got a lot of selling off coming on the indices. Right. So let's have a look at everything else then. So weekly ranges, obviously we've got loads of weekly ranges hit. Aussie dollar CAD. Thanks for the crickets, keeps me motivated. Yeah, I'll turn them up. I've had loud crickets this morning. If they start drowning me out there with a load of selling, I just want to hear a load of selling coming in basically because I want the DAX to drop. But the DAX is the only one we've got no activity on. It's like they're all sitting there like having an extended breakfast because they're waiting for the pound rate in 5 hours. 4 hours now. Yeah, it's all gone quiet. Right, so Aussie dollar CAD. So these these are weeklies, obviously. So if we look at these on the hourly, we're going back to Monday. So we got the weekly hit yesterday on that, and the same thing with the Aussie dollar Swiss. You've missed them. Aussie dollar Swiss, you just had a retest there. Don't buy. What are you doing? So yeah, movement down from there. A nice weekly push on the Aussie dollar CAD and the Aussie dollar Swiss. Aussie dollar New Zealand as well, obviously, has had a nice big push. They're all starting to reverse off now. So you kind of need to get into these this morning, but a lot of them have obviously already gone. So the weeklies, obviously, they're good little plays short. But you never know how long they're going to go on the weekly. If it's not a fundamental shift, then typically they will normally pull back over a period of days. Obviously, the Aussies have all moved because we've had that extra increase rate on the Australian dollar. So it's just basically unexpected market movement. So therefore, we get more market movement when we get something that's unexpected. CAD Swiss just reversed off the highs. That's just starting to come down now as well. And pound odd. Obviously, pound odd is absolutely shot. I'd be very wary of taking anything on the pound today, obviously. If you want to get into a position, you need to get into something on the pound in the next 4 hours. Get something built up, ready to go. Because we're going to get some movement on the pound with the rates. Whether it's going to be a collapse or a large pullback, we don't know. But you need to basically pick all news trading is gambling. So you need to basically get in, pick a direction, build a little position, and hope you get landed it. Same as I did with the US dollar Swiss yesterday. I was expecting the US dollar to come down. I took a gamble by taking a couple of positions short on it with a stop at the top and paid off. Yeah, it's how you make money. A lot of it is luck with news, and when they work beautifully. So if you can get a position together in the pound today, it's worth doing. Personally, I think the pound's going to be shorting, but it is very, very extended across a lot of time frames as well. So we will see. Nobody knows what's going to go on with the pound, but we're extended on the hourly down there, so it could well have a little rally up. Could well just do a whipsaw. I don't know. But pound odd, very extended as well on the weekly. You can see obviously big drop, but that's to do with the Australian dollar pushing the pound down because of the Australian dollar rate. So could well get that pullback. Don't know. We'll see. That's it. Sell, sell, sell. There's some DAX selling coming in now, look. There was. It's all gone quiet now. Every time I move it into view, it goes, whoa. It's like playing hide and seek with it. It starts making a noise, I move it into view, and then it goes quiet, as if it's watching me. There we go. New Zealand dollars all moved off the back of the Australian dollar. So obviously these guys move fairly similarly. Nice move on that one, obviously because it's US dollar based. And obviously US dollar Swiss, and the CAD moved off of FOMC. So there's your weeklies. Monthlies, we've not got anything hit first week of the month, obviously. So we don't tend to really get monthly ranges hit in the first week. Every now and again we do if there's something drastic happening, but usually week 2 is when we start to pay attention to the monthlies. On the hourlies, we've got the Aussie dollar Swiss, which is one we looked at obviously this morning. So this looks like a nice little short opportunity. It's just retesting at the moment. We've got a very strong Australian dollar off the back of the rate announcement. So you're kind of getting in front of something, that is fundamentally shifting. But we are up at really, really nice levels of support resistance. So we've got roughly, it's not even an ADR up to those highs. I'm going to have a go on that. I'm just going to go for 2 positions on that. So playing it on the hourly, we're going to push up. We've obviously pushed up, got the reversal alert and retested on the hourly. This level here is potentially another level they're going to come and sweep, and also this level here as well. So we've got these 2 recent highs to look at, which could well get run for liquidity. So that one there and that one there. And then obviously we've got this high here. So they could easily come up and take out yesterday's high very quickly within a couple of candles. But they obviously did the same thing. They didn't run the highs last time. They didn't push up and take out that liquidity. This time, potentially, they won't do it again. They could well just move down for the next leg from here. Good selling coming in across all indices now. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss going with a short there. If they do come up and take out that liquidity, I'll get into a second position somewhere up there. In fact, I might just stick a limit up there. But like the look of that one. So extended on the hourly. As you can see, we just turned over very nicely. I'm expecting a good move down on that. Basically a profit take. Target wise, wouldn't get greedy on it. Probably looking... I mean, initially, target you want to be down at these lows. I don't think the Australian dollar's got that much in it, to be honest. So I'll be looking for somewhere around about 50% retracement initially. So that's either going to be a straight in, out for a profit, or gather up a couple of positions and then try and get back down there again. Why the pound going down that much? Why England not taking action against this? Because we're screwed. Honest answer. Financially, we're stuffed. Basically, it's the same as all other countries at the minute. There's no. We've got tons of debt that's been built up over COVID. We've got to pay for that. Our NHS is struggling, which we've got to pay for. The energy crisis is driving energy prices through the roof. We've got inflation at all-time highs. Housing prices have gone up 150% in the last 5 years. We're just sitting in this bubble at the moment where literally on a weekly or monthly basis, the government is coming out and saying, this is going to cost you, this is going to cost you, this is going to cost you. We're not spending any money because we ain't got any. Basically, so but that's very, very similar to most economies at the moment. We've got to pay for COVID, and we've just had a war land on our laps, and we've had to kick out all the Russian money, which made up about 25% of the wealth in this country, and we've decided to not use the banking system in Russia, which is about 20% of the transactions down the pan. Plus, most of our large corporates in the UK that traded with Russia have lost anything up to 20% of their profit. But that's no different to any other country either. Yeah, it's just the world is utterly short at the minute. So everything is a short against the US dollar, because the US dollar is the king of currency, and that's the one that will tend to survive the most because it's the biggest. So there's not a lot we can do about it. It's that balancing act with interest rates that drives inflation up and down. And that is how you control it, basically, amongst other things. But yeah, there's not a lot anyone can do. The US, the euro has been doing it. When's the euro rates? It's not until we've just had them, haven't we? So, but the euro rates basically, and the same with the yen. They've been buying up bonds and buying up their own currencies to prop themselves up. And when they do that, basically you're artificially inflating your currency. When when your currency drops while you're artificially trying to inflate it, you're basically buying yourself into more debt. And that causes a spiral effect, which is why for the last 2 years we've seen the euro doing what the euro has been doing. It's not been a happy place for the euro for the majority of it. If you look at things like the euro Swiss, it's just not. There's no real way out of this at the minute. It's just a time thing. So the Bank of England is not going to step in and do anything at the moment because it can't. The vast majority of this that we've had has been caused by the Ukraine war and the Russian money that has been expelled, and the banking system being rerouted. The SWIFT banking system is the largest interbank transaction and inter-country transaction system in the world. We just turned 20% of it off. Not going to be good. We are the largest banking. 80% of all financial transactions go through London. That's been shut off, part of that. So we've got to find a way out of it. So obviously the Bank of England is going to be announcing bits and pieces in the conference today, but I don't think there's a swift way out, to be honest. So, swift, sorry, it's a joke. Banking system. Straight off my head. So yeah, I'm looking for more drop on the pound, but we could have a temporary reprieve. We never know. You never know. The thing you've got to factor in with all news is that the market does what the market wants to do, regardless of whether the news is positive or negative or as expected. Depending on whether the banks have their books balanced long or short will depend on where that is going to go. So if they have got 2 million sitting long and 1 million sitting short, they'll go long today regardless of what comes out on that rate. And then they'll correct it wherever they want to go. So, but long term, yeah, not looking good for anybody, is it? At the moment. Sorry to be doom and gloom, but it is doom and gloom at the moment, isn't it? So pound odd, looking on a brighter note, nicely extended on the hourly. We could well get a pullback on this today. The difficulty with the pound, and why I haven't built any positioning in the pound at the moment ahead of this news to try and sort of benefit from it, is I can't actually see any instrument at the moment that I want to trade on the pound, or that I can build a position on. The pound odd is massively extended, so I've got a bearish bias when the news comes out. I can't trade that because it's so massively extended already. It's just, I don't think it's going to be able to go much further. The pound CAD has just basically reversed back to where it was before after a 3-day drop. It's difficult to short that. Pound Swiss, yeah, possibly. Pound Swiss might be a decent one to take. I've just taken the Aussie Swiss short though, so I don't really want to get into Pound Swiss. But that would be the one probably I can see you're likely to be able to get a decent move off of. Pound yen just not trading. Pound New Zealand is completely sideways. That can kind of go either way. And the pound US, obviously, we've just had that retracement. That to me would be a long, because I think the pound is just pulling back, the US dollar is pulling back before it powers up again. So that is where I think we're going to be going with that one. So I can't really get into a pound at the minute as much as I'd like to ahead of the news. Pound New Zealand is also extended to the downside. So pound odd and pound New Zealand are the two that are extended on the hourlies, but I don't really like the look of either of those, unfortunately. So, but if you want to look at them from a support and resistance level, as I say, the pound Swiss is probably the one that I would say is more likely to move fast, because we've got little on the Swiss, little bias on the Swiss. I mean, it could, but the thing is, it could go either way, this one, couldn't it? I'd be more inclined to go short on that one than long, but as I say, no idea. You don't know where it's going. Nobody does. So we've just got some movement on the DAX. Finally, I'm just adding another short here on my other account. Not quite, but I'm just about to. It's not letting me in. God, just literally tapped straight into my... I got a pending sell there, literally there. Anyway, so I'm just leaving the two positions on this account. See how that goes. So decent strength of selling coming through on the DAX. Although we are due a little bit of a pullback based on the other indices at the minute. They're all very, 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 very extended. Okay, I'm in my third short. Right, so there's your hourlies. So there's not a lot there. If you want to get into a pound position, as I say, I'd get in with some small positions and try and build something in whatever your bias is. Oops. Personally, I'm just looking for shorts at the moment on the pound, just based on what the pound is doing at the moment. It's not a happy currency. We've got interest rates going up. So therefore, I think we're probably due a little bit of a drop on this. Nice selling on the DAX. Keep going. We're just approaching a support on the DAX. Let's say a support. This candle basically is the only down candle we had. So this is an accumulation. It's the 1 bar accumulation basically towards the end of the day. So we've just closed through yesterday's close. So if you look at it on a daily basis, we've just closed through the close of yesterday's daily candle. And this obviously is where potentially we could see people trying to buy up. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here, whether we get any buyers entering the market. If we can crack this level here on the DAX, I think we're good for a nice long run. Just going to move my TPs down. I'm going to leave one. I'm going to take one off in that accumulation, if we get there, and then let the second one run. I mean, realistically, we could get a very nice drop on that, couldn't we? So we'll see what happens. 4 hourlies, very, very similar. Aussie dollar CAD, nicely extended on the hourly, obviously off of the 4 hourly, off the back of the move on the rates. It's just flagging potentially for a new leg up. So the Aussie dollar obviously very, very strong at the moment. That well could continue. We've seen lots and lots of Aussie dollar strength off the back of the war. And it's had a very, very, very deep pullback. Aussie dollar CAD more than others because of the oil situation. But that's nicely extended to the upside. You needed to kind of get in on this one yesterday, really, on M15. Reversal alert. Oh, you didn't get one, actually. Because it just is too extended off the back of FOMC. So, yeah, no real entry on that one. M5 you would have got in on, but that would have been in Asia, so not really easy to get into that one. Aussie dollar Swiss, I suspect, very similar. No, Aussie dollar Swiss. So you had that M15 entry this morning in the Asian session. It's pulled back and retested nicely and dropped. So as I say, I've got my first short on that one. Easily come up and retest liquidity and then drop back down again. So I'm not looking for a massive drop on this, but very nicely extended on the 4 hourly. So looking for basically some kind of unwinding of this buying off the back of the rate announcement, and then potentially another leg up. So just playing counter trend at the moment. Aussie dollar, US dollar. FOMC has obviously taken this extended. TP1 hit. I've got a trailer on this at the moment. I'm just going to turn the trailer off, actually. I'm going to leave it at break even. So I'm just watching where. So this lower this wick. I'm just watching this level. Let's take some of that off. So my brain's thinking. You can hear the tumbleweed going. I've got 3 shorts on it on the other account. I'm just toying with the idea of taking one off, but I just wanted to see whether we get some more selling through that level. If you look at this on my other account, the chart looks very, very different. So you see what I'm looking at on my other chart is this level here, which is that Asian, kind of the Asian low, if you like. So this is obviously not real because this is broker data, but we had some shenanigans going on around there. So this level obviously is fairly important. I'm just watching what happens, and it's this level here from yesterday where we had the accumulation. So I'm just waiting to see if we get some buying come through. And if we break that, we should get a good pump through the bottom. This is where we're going to see, this is where the liquidity is going to be. So it's either we're either going to get some buying pressure or they're just going to absorb all the buyers and pop. Just keeping a close eye because I've got 7.5 lots short on it, so every tick's worth $15 at the minute. Hence me keeping a close eye on it. A little bit of buying starting to come through on the US indices. They're obviously very, very extended. The thing that concerns me about the DAX is the DAX didn't get that flush this morning that the US indices got, which means that there was an awful lot more buying power sitting on the DAX stocks than there was on the US stocks. If we get a load of buying come through on US stocks, the DAX will probably go in line with it. And as there's more buying pressure that we saw this morning, this could come back a lot faster than the US indices. And the US indices at the moment are all sitting, hovering. Sorry, I'm flicking around a bit this morning. Sitting, hovering in a little accumulation here. There's a lot of selling coming in, as you can see. We're very, very wicks to the upside. But what I don't want to see is a big flurry of buying coming through on the US indices, because that could well just completely undo the DAX as well. Let's see if we get bullish engulfing on that. Right. Where was I? 4 hours. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss. So I've got one short entry on that one, initial entry. And as I say, on 4 hour, looking basically for a sweep of the highs potentially for an additional position. Then we may well want to come and sweep these highs, because everybody that's sold there and everybody that's sold there has got liquidity sitting in these two spots. If the market needs liquidity, that's what it will do before it does a pullback. Obviously, with the Aussie dollar rate announcement, we had a little flag flurry. This could be a flag flurry, take that liquidity and then drop. That could be the move that they're putting in at the moment. Equally, we've got lovely tweezer tops there, and we've got a new lower low. So market structure is high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So that could be what we're doing. Don't know. We could just go range bound. Yeah, so we're just up at the highs of the range at the minute. Range highs don't have to be equal, obviously. It's just a range. We're up and down, up and down, up and down, because the market's happy to trade sideways. Doesn't want to discover any new prices on the Aussie Swiss. So that could be what's happening as well. But yeah, like short on that one. Aussie US, not quite as much fun. Aussie US, because obviously the non-farm. So we are pulling back at the moment. I'm looking for the US dollar to pull back and then push. So that is exactly what we're getting at the minute. Where it's going to pull back to would be somewhere around this area, into the propulsion gap, and then potentially bounce out from there. So looks quite good. But I wouldn't want to be getting in short long term on this one. So if you're going to get into this one, you kind of needed to get into it very early this morning in Asia. The players basically just fading this FOMC move before a new leg up. So where that is going to move from, who knows? Flags will go on until flags go on, and when the flag breaks, it will go. So you just need to be careful if you're shorting this one. Not a really good short. Euro odd. Can't long the euro. Nicely extended. I just can't long it. Look at that for an M. That took a long time, over a week, for that to reverse. We're just pulling back into this liquidity at the minute. into an accumulation. So we're just bouncing out of that. Some buyers are stepping in, but long term, don't see it being good for the euro. We are basically putting in potentially a lower high here. So in theory, market structure has shifted because we broke these highs, but it wasn't a very convincing break of the highs. And now we are putting in shorter term bearish market structure. So maybe a pullback to there and a drop. So that's kind of all I fancy on that. I've got a sell limit set up here, as you can see, on the euro odd. So if we do get a pullback up into that area, I'll be looking for that market structure to hold there. So looking for that. So I'm getting in that propulsion move there. What do I do with this? DAX is just kind of sitting, not going anywhere. We're I think looks like we're trying to form a range here. We could well just do that ahead of the news. I was hoping they were going to try and get some negative movement done, but they haven't. We'll see. Hold on to it anyway. Pound odd. Again, massively extended. I do not want to be longing the pound. This is off the Australian dollar. There is an opportunity for the pound to pull back before a new leg down. So that may be what we get. A little bit of a flurry on the rate announcement, but overall bearish on it. So don't want to be taking longs. New Zealand dollar Swiss as well. Nicely extended to the upside. I'm on the Aussie dollar version, Aussie dollar Swiss. So pick one or the other. Both the same thing. Burke, how many accounts do you have, and what is the point of more than one? I've got. I've got. I don't know. At the beginning of the month, I get about 25 statements, so probably about 25 accounts. I don't know how many accounts I've got. I got one main trading account, one funded account, and I've got one investment account. So the investment account is dormant at the moment. That is basically what I run the S&P on normally, which is kind of my pension fund account, if you like. So in a normal world, I'm just riding the S&P highs, buying the pullbacks on the S&P and basically making money on the S&P long term. Just position trading the S&P, but I'm not at the moment. So that account's dormant. I've got this account, which is just basically day-to-day trading account, and then I've got my funded account, which is with my Forex funds. So normally I would only have one account, and I only put usually around about a third of my money into the account, because I don't want to hold it all with one broker, basically. So I trade 30k account, but I don't hold all 30k in the account. I top it up if I need to, which I don't really need to. But I don't like having all my money in there. I got stung in the Swiss franc peg release, and it took me 4 months to get my money out of my account when the Swiss franc peg was removed. So therefore I don't hold all my money in one broker anymore, because if they have all my money tied up because of some weird wonderful thing, I'm stuffed, and if the broker goes bust, I've got to get my money back. So I keep a portion in there, but I've moved over to my funded account, obviously with my Forex funds, but I'm only using that for scalping, because you can't position trade with it, because you've got a 2.5k a day loss limit, and you can't position trade with 2.5k a day. Well, 5% basically. Morning, Franco. So if you had to play a pair and not look at it for 2 weeks, which pair would it be? A US dollar pair long. Probably US dollar Swiss. He says short on it at the moment. But 2 weeks? Yeah, I don't know. I don't hold things for 2 weeks. Either an Aussie dollar or a US dollar long. But I don't know where it's going in the next week. So this thing could take... We could have 4 or 5 down days and then do that. So if you're entering right now, I haven't got a clue. You're having surgery in a few days and we'll be on lockdown in hospital. God, that's a challenge. US dollar yen. Yeah, US dollar yen long. That's what I would do. If I had to, if someone put a gun to my head and said, you've got to take a trade and hold it for 2 weeks, US dollar yen long. Because the Bank of Japan has said they're going to take it up to 135. If the Bank of Japan says they're going to do it, I guess probably a good idea. That is all I would do. We've just pulled back nicely into support, which is holding. So you see this, these highs there. We've pulled back into it. And we're just pushing out of it now. 135. Break out the solitaire cards. Yeah. Make sure you got a charger for your tablet or your laptop. 2 weeks. Oh God. Hospital lockdown. Not fun. I hope the hospital food's good. That's the worst thing about being in hospital. I haven't been in hospital much, touch wood. But when I have been in hospital, it's the food. God. It's a standing joke in the UK about hospital food being bad. And until you've actually been in hospital and had hospital food, you think when it first comes out, you're like, oh, it's not too bad. But yeah. I don't want to slag off the NHS because they do an amazing job, but the chefs need a little bit of attention. So yeah, US dollar yen long is kind of what I would look at. So holding at the moment, obviously the Euro CAD still as a short. US dollar Swiss still holding that as a short. I might get stopped out on this one today. It's looking like it's pulling back quite nicely. It's pulling off the highs at the moment, but there is every chance that we will do 100% retracement on the initial move. So this was basically FOMC, the rate announcement. This was the press conference. So remember, I don't know if you're in the Telegram group yesterday, I said 7:30 press conference is about to start. This is when we tend to get interesting. So what they did was, again, textbook move, FOMC rate announcement. They moved the market short. Everybody went short, put their stops above the highs. The press conference, they took out the liquidity and the highs and ran with it. So short. But we could well undo this entire short and then start the next leg from there. But hopefully what we'll do is just come and sort of move up into the area, do maybe a 50% and then drop. But either way, I'll either get out with a very nice profit or I'll get out with no loss. Aussie dollar Swiss, I got that first move on and I'm in one DAX. So that's me. Yeah, and I've got that Euro odd I'm waiting for as well. Up there. Anybody got any other pairs they want to look at? I'll have a quick look at gold as well. Someone's bound to ask about gold. Oh, come on. It's going to be a paint dry session for the DAX today. I've gone nowhere in the last 20 minutes. I'm on the verge of shutting this out. Just taking the money. I've had one failed trade on the DAX this morning, which has lost me $260. I'm sitting at $330 in profit. I'm just thinking maybe I should wait for the New York session this afternoon, just take this, get back to break even for the day, and wait for the rate announcement. But equally, if you look at this on M15, which is what I'm looking at the moment, there's no reason to get out at the minute. We're about to get a propulsion gap put in here in the next 2 minutes. So there's a likelihood we'll come and retest this area. But equally, if we break these lows, I'm targeting basically $500 a day, $500 to $800 a day. So if we do break these lows and we can get a move down started, that's me basically done for the day. So it'd be nice to have it all over and done with by the pound rate announcement, but equally I don't think this is moving anywhere at the minute. Right, anyway, gold. Let's have a look at gold. Equally, we're not getting affected. Just quickly whizzing back, just to explain my thought processes. I'm seeing buying coming through on the US indices, S&P, Dow. So I'm seeing buying coming in on those, and I'm not seeing any buying coming in on the DAX. So these guys are moving fairly independently at the moment. If we can continue this buying back up into this propulsion gap, and we see some selling start to come out of that liquidity, and we haven't moved here, we should get a drop on the DAX. So this is kind of like a very shallow flag we've got forming. As long as it doesn't stop me out, break even, we could well just get another leg down, because obviously we are gradually buying up, but I would expect a new leg of selling to start. That's why I'm not jumping out of it, but equally I'm not enamoured with any of the price action at all at the moment. We're just basically putting a doji in on M15. $20. So we see where the candle closes. This is why you wait. Watch this. This is why you wait until the candle closes. What it looks like throughout the candle formation is not how it tends to end. We tend to get a little bit of a flurry coming in towards the end, and it paints differently. So doji. So want to look at test of those lows. Right, gold. So I'm flicking around a lot today, I know. It's just not a lot to look at today, is there? We're going to go sideways until the rate announcement, so it's just hard to actually look at anything to get into. I hate weeks like this when it's busy with the news. It's very hard to sort of look at anything. So gold, we had a reversal on the 4 hour yesterday. We've got this level which we pulled down into, which is this level here. So all these lines I've got drawn on the charts are potential support resistance areas. I really like it long. And obviously we had the move down on the US dollar. I still think the US dollar is going to power up after this pullback, but I think we've got a decent pullback possibly for a few weeks potentially coming, or maybe at least for a sort of a week, and then next leg up. So with that in mind, we should see potentially a little bit of buying coming in on gold, because gold is not moving on its own accord. It's being pushed around by the US dollar at the minute. So if you look at that move, I'd be looking for some kind of move, possibly back up into this area here, which is these highs and lows. Here we go again. Very intermittent buying and selling. So yeah, somewhere up into there for gold, and then potentially next leg down as the US dollar powers up. But so I don't really trade gold, and we're just literally in an accumulation. We did a little bit of price discovery out of the highs and said no, we don't like that. Now we're doing a bit of price discovery out of the lows, looking like we're not going to like that. We're probably just going to come back into accumulation up here. So at the moment, you'd probably be pretty safe taking a long right now, and if it pulls back, take another long and assume that we're going to get back up into this area. What happens after there, nobody knows. It's just going to be a accumulation. What happened to Bitcoin off of the thing yesterday? So yeah, same push up on Bitcoin as well. Totally range bound this thing now. So just chopping around sideways, no directional bias whatsoever. Accumulation is usually predecessor to the next strong move. So potentially we could have a decent move to the upside on Bitcoin. But who knows? Don't trade it. So nobody's got anything else they want to look at. That's good. Still sideways. Come on, let's get a bit of selling. Right, S&P's just pulling back nicely. So lovely little pullback on the S&P. If you stick a 20 moving average on here, you will see what I mean. So nice pullback drop. Decent selling coming in. Just want to break these lows, and then if we do get these lows broken, we'll get a move start. But it's just real critical level to try and get through there. It's more selling. Come on, you can do it. $250 away from target for the day. Break of these lows and I'm done. You're not going to do it, are you? Big spread just went in there for some reason. No. Didn't get any follow through on that. I'm going to put a trailer on this, I think. Just going to trail this down. See if we get a decent drop off like this. Then obviously I'll just jump out as we pull back. Euro yen. Euro yen is a difficult one because I'm short the euro, I'm short the yen. So a short against a short is an accumulation. So I think obviously the yen has got since Kuroda announced that they were going to be worried about taking the US dollar yen up to 135. The market's not really invested or done anything with the yen whatsoever, so we are obviously sideways on it. So we had the big squeeze, and then we had that initial second leg flurry, which we've come back into. So we were not happy about going above there. We're back into balance again. This is where the market is happy to transact. The euro has nothing going for it to push it in either direction. The yen has nothing going for it to push it in either direction. So there's no real way to trade this at the moment, unless we get down to these lows again, in which case I'd start looking for longs, and if we get up into these areas I'd start looking for shorts, depending on which the driving force is. We've just broken the lows on the DAX. Here we go. So yeah, I don't really have a an answer on that one. I don't really have a bias as such. Don't take those lows out and pull back up, please. I can't see this being a big fast drop today. So hopefully we get some movement down before we get to the pound, but it's not. It's pulling back off the lows again. Look. That's what happens. So yeah, sideways. I'd be looking at the moment where you are. The entire week, obviously we've gone nowhere this week. There's been nothing on the euro or the yen to move it, so we've gone nowhere. It's all been about the US dollar and the pound this week. Obviously, when you're taking trades in a range, you want to take trades from logical areas. If you're taking trades from the middle, you've got a 50-50 chance of it going higher or lower. If you take a trade from a low or a high, you've got an increased chance of that trade being able to make you a decent amount of money. So I would wait literally for this to get either up to there or get down to there, and then I'd be interested. But if the Bank of Japan come out and say something dovish, or they, if they basically come out and say anything really, likelihood is the yen will devalue and the euro will go up. But Lagarde's not coming out saying anything about the euro, apart from the rate increases going to be happening with kind of 90% certainty within the next month. So short euro. But yeah, market is not focused on either of these currencies at the moment. God, that was pitiful, wasn't it? Come on, there we go. I'm just closing out a partial. Got 2 more positions running. So the position I've just closed out basically is just paid for the loss this morning. I've got 2 positions running at $250. So I'm just toying with the idea of whether or not to hold them. We've just broken back above again. I'm closing one out. I'm just going to let one run. I'm just going to leave it run. This is going to be painful to watch today, so I'm just going to bank that. And then I've got one more position running short at break even at 142.52 here. So I've got a position running here at break even, which I will just let run, either get stopped out or go for these lows basically. I've no point getting into anything else today. I don't think we're going to get enough speed of movement on this, but obviously you can see the market structure at the moment is nice for shorts. So targets down here. So just really looking for pullbacks and shorts. Worryingly though, if you look at the US indices, they look like potentially they might be starting to shift, but we'll see. That's all I've got for today, really. It's all about the pound. So obviously 12 o'clock today, we've got the rate announcement for the pound. Watch the bank votes. They tend to get skewed. They're getting more and more skewed. If you look at the last 4 releases here, every single release we've had something unexpected. And obviously that is where we have been sitting through COVID and through the current climate. The Bank of England said we are going to be changing interest rates now. The voting on the interest rate changes is changing. Virtually every release we're getting something unexpected. So this filters in to the rate. So you get quite a lot of volatility on this, regardless of what this is. If this comes out as expected, that's all factored into the market. We know about it. This is not factored into the market because they don't know what the votes are going to be for the next rate release. So this will quite often have more impact on the actual rate release itself. So just keep an eye on this. It doesn't matter what it comes out as. You've got no control over it. It's going to go where it's going to go. But obviously be aware there's going to be a lot of volatility around the pound. And then as soon as that is out of the way, we've got clean sailing. Forget unemployment claims, not going to do an awful lot. We've got clean sailing basically until non-farm payroll tomorrow afternoon. So we should see some decent liquidity coming through in the New York session and some decent movement. Hopefully continuations on what we saw yesterday. So US dollar Swiss continuing its path to the downside, if I'm still in it. I've got a feeling we're just going to get this just done, unfortunately. It's going to take me out, but we'll see. Okay, so that's all I've got for you. I'm not going to get into any pounds. I kind of want to take a pound trade because I think we're going to get a decent amount of movement. I just don't know where that movement is going to go at the moment. Really undecided on direction, so I'm just going to sit out. But if you do want to get into a pound, try and get into a position this morning. Get yourself in with some small positions. Take a few in the direction you're looking to go. And then obviously adjust as necessary as you get towards the news and hope the news goes your way. Good opportunity to make some decent money. But we've got really nice liquidity pool here. If it goes long, profit take up there. If it goes short and breaks down below these lows, probably going to continue. But who knows? Mystery day today. All right, so that's it for me for the morning. I'll be back. I'm still in the Telegram group if you need me. I will be in there. I'm not looking to get into anything really new at the moment, apart from what I've got on. Whoops. So I'm just going to hold these positions basically. US dollar Swiss, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be out of shortly. Be nice if it's not, and hopefully they'll just turn around and fly. But I'm just holding these positions basically. I'm not going to get into anything else at the moment. Next week is a lot nicer. So whatever movements we've got put in this week, we should get some nice RSI extensions that we can play off of next week. Yeah, that's about it really. Good luck, Franco, in your surgery in a few days. Only good pound is one in your closet. What? I don't understand. Only good pound is the one in your closet. No, brain can't compute that one. Sorry. Only good pound is the one in your pocket. Is that what you mean? Is that an autocorrect? Yeah, pounds in your pocket are good. I like those. Not that I carry cash anymore, but yeah. DAX is just starting to contemplate next leg down after taking me out. Look, it's just been taken out on this account. So just 2 trades this morning. What's that? About 1.25%, 1.5%, something like that. And I've still got that other one running on my on the other account. So I'm going to let that go and see if we can get that down towards these lows. All right, have a good one. Anybody needs anything, come in the Telegram group. I shall be in there if you need it. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:50, same time. Trade the Frankfurt session. Be aware, obviously, of this afternoon. We'll cover non-farm payroll. And have a look at where they're likely to be reaching for. Non-farm basically is used for liquidity grabs most of the time. It's a whipsaw event. So we'll cover that tomorrow and see where we're likely to be headed for that. And we've got CAD unemployment as well. So any CAD positions you've got on, you need to be aware of that as well for CAD. So we'll have a look at them. Anything else interesting I see, I will post in the Telegram group, but I don't think I'm going to see anything interesting at the minute because, we're just waiting on news. So not likely to be moving anywhere this morning. But bearish on indices until they get down to these levels, and then we'll see what happens. So hopefully what we'll do is we'll just get a sell-off down to here today, and then we'll have a look at them and see where they're going to go for New York. All right, have a good one. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully make some profit off of the pound today, and I will see you in the morning. Have a good one.